Welcome to QBITS Quick Bits. This is a show where we really dig into the strategic insights from QuadBridge events.
That's right.
Our aim is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Help you, as IT leaders, kind of move past the everyday tasks and become, real strategic forces in your organizations.
And today we're doing a deep dive specifically into the innovation track from the 8th annual QBITS event, which just wrapped up.
Yeah, it was packed.
It really was. We'll be unpacking, the big themes, AI, automation, sure, but also digging into how you actually build that culture of experimentation.
Exactly. And how all of that helps IT make a bigger strategic impact. We've gone through quite a bit of material for you all. There was a great keynote by John and CISO, two really interesting panel discussions, the IT Leaders Innovation Toolkit and the Future Ready Organization.
And that presentation on AI success stories, plus the secure AI innovation piece. Lots to cover.
Definitely. So our mission here is to pull out those key insights, the actionable stuff you can use without drowning you in super technical jargon.
Sound good?
Let's jump in. Okay, so right off the bat, in CISO's keynote, really set the stage. Innovation, it's not just about the tech itself, is it?
Not at all. He framed it more as a mindset, a commitment to always look beyond how things are currently done, the status quo.
And he connected that back to what IT fundamentally does.
Right. He pointed out that IT drives innovation by, creating better user experiences, using data to actually find insights, and governing that crucial intellectual property.
That's the bedrock.
These are the core strategic contributions, really.
That user experience point, it really resonated. It's not just does it work, does it actually help people?
And tying into that, the Innovation Toolkit panel brought up this really neat distinction, the difference between being a learn-it-all versus a know-it-all.
Yeah, yes. Tell us more about that.
Well, it's about the culture, isn't it? They were saying that having that learn-it-all attitude, always curious, willing to adapt, that's absolutely vital today. Things change so fast.
No kidding. One person or even one team just can't have all the answers anymore.
Exactly. But then, reality hits.
Right. Like that example from the panel, I think it was Will, talking about a defense contractor.
Yeah, facing data loss, you've got this urgent need to fix things now, but you also need the headspace for longer-term strategic thinking to prevent it happening again.
It's a tough juggle.
It really is. And it points to this common situation where, everyone looks to IT for innovation.
But the panel argued it shouldn't just be IT's job, right?
Precisely. True innovation, they said, needs to bubble up from all parts of the business.
Which means IT needs to be talking to everyone. And CISO really hammered this point about engaging stakeholders.
He did. You can't innovate effectively in isolation.
Loved that anecdote he shared, the healthcare CIO doing grand rounds.
Yeah, that was great. Like doctors checking on patients, the CIO is out there talking to departments, finding out their actual pain points.
Getting that direct feedback, it makes the solutions relevant.
It makes it real. But CISO also brought up the CIO's dilemma.
The balancing act again.
Exactly. You want to innovate, push forward, but you're always constrained by time, by budget, by risk. Especially with big shifts happening, like, the whole VMware situation lately.
That adds pressure.
It absolutely does. It boils down to managing those constraints, time, money, risk effectively. That's where IT leadership adds serious value.
And it's not just the big picture stuff either. He mentioned needing to understand the nitty-gritty, the day-to-day operations.
Yes. The example of the retail stores, putting in tech that nobody used.
Because IT didn't fully get how the store staff actually worked.
Ouch. It's a classic trap. Innovation has to solve a real problem for the people using it. Otherwise, it's just tech for tech's sake.
And the Innovation Toolkit panel echoed that. They talked about communication, telling a story around the innovation to get people on board.
You need that buy-in. A great idea isn't enough if you can't bring people along.
Which kind of naturally leads us into the whole data and AI discussion. That was a huge focus.
Huge. And CISO's was clear. AI is an accelerant, a massive one, but only if you have good data feeding it.
Garbage in, garbage out still applies.
More than ever. He used this term, data gravity.
Yeah, I like that. The idea that your core systems, where the critical data lives, should sort of pull your data strategy towards them.
That's the gist. Let the core business data guide you. And crucially, work backward from what you want AI to do.
Right. Don't just chase the shiny new hardware like the latest NVIDIA chip.
Focus on the outcome first. What business problem are you solving? Then figure out the tech.
And we heard some amazing concrete examples in the AI success stories presentation. This wasn't just theory.
No, real-world stuff, like using existing video cameras and edge computing to spot explosives in a steel recycling plant. That's pretty impactful.
Wow, okay. And the sustainable fishing one, using AI to identify fish species on boats.
Yeah, lightweight AI models making sure regulations are followed. Good for business, good for the environment.
Then there was improving pig farming, efficiency, animal health through visual monitoring.
And gamifying meat processing.
Yeah.
Using AI to improve cut quality and actually make the work more engaging.
It's amazing the breadth of applications. Automating pothole detection for road crews.
Reducing theft at self-checkouts using AI cameras. Optimizing fuel in NASCAR.
Formula One broadcasts, enhancing security, customer experiences. It's everywhere.
It really shows AI moving from like a sci-fi concept to a practical business tool.
And the Secure AI presentation touched on Microsoft Copilot, making AI more accessible.
Kind of like a user interface for AI, yeah. Integrated right into the Microsoft apps people already use daily.
And the key point was security, right? It uses your own organization's data securely within your tenant.
Exactly. That addresses a major hurdle for adoption data privacy and security concerns.
They also mentioned agents in Copilot. What was that about?
Think of them like little AI helpers that can automate specific tasks or fetch information for you, tailored to different jobs.
Okay, interesting. But they didn't shy away from the risks either. Generative AI brings new challenges.
Definitely. Data loss prevention DLP becomes even more critical, making sure sensitive info doesn't accidentally leak out through these AI tools.
Good to know they are tools specifically for managing that posture in AI environments now.
Yeah, security has to keep pace with the innovation.
So, okay, we have the tech, the data, but how do you build the culture? And CISO talked about infrastructure first.
You need a solid foundation. Modern infrastructure is key to supporting whatever cool stuff you want to build next. Can't innovate on shaky ground.
Makes sense. He also pushed hard on challenging the tyranny of the status quo.
But we've always done it this way, Trap. You have to be willing to question things, break old habits.
Even looking at things like shadow IT differently.
Yeah, that was interesting. Instead of just shutting it down, see it as a signal. Whereas formal IT maybe not meeting a need, it could spark ideas.
He gave that framework, too, for evaluating ideas. Special knowledge, risk, effort, differentiation.
A good mental checklist to sort through potential innovations. Is it worth the effort? Does it set us apart?
And then the Innovation Toolkit panel brought it back to people, celebrating wins.
So important. Big or small, recognizing progress boosts morale, encourages more trying.
You need that energy, that excitement to keep things going.
It can't just be top-down. It needs that grassroots enthusiasm.
We also heard about being cloud smart, not just cloud first.
Right. Both in CISO and the Future Ready Org panel hit on this. It's about the right tool for the job, not just blindly moving everything to the cloud. Understanding costs, maybe even bringing some things back on premise, if it makes sense.
And related to that, the cutting edge panel talked about AI moving closer to where data is created. Edge AI.
Yeah, more processing happening right there on AI PCs, on dedicated edge devices out in the field. Less latency, faster insights.
Okay, so you've got all this activity. How do you know if it's working? Measuring success.
The Innovation Toolkit panel tackled that. It's a mix, they said. Hard metrics like usage rates, efficiency gains.
But also softer stuff.
Yeah, like feedback from users, even looking at team well-being. Are people engaged? Are they feeling empowered?
And collaboration came up again. Some companies even tie it to pay.
They do, really emphasizing that teamwork is critical for innovation.
Ultimately, the panel stressed it comes down to mindset and discipline. And good change management.
You need the idea, but also the structure to make it happen and stick.
And leadership has to model it, right? Bring that passion, that curiosity. Start small, encourage brainstorming.
Absolutely. And as the Future Ready Org panel reminded us, it's always about balancing that innovation drive with real business outcomes, creating actual value.
So, wrapping this all up, this deep dive into the QBITS innovation track.
Yeah.
Well, it's clear that innovation in IT isn't just one thing.
Not at all. It's strategic thinking, it's talking to people, it's smart use of data and AI.
It's building that culture, fostering experimentation, and actually measuring if it's making a difference.
A lot to chew on.
Definitely. Which leads us to a final thought for you listening.
Right.
Think about your own IT organization. Is there one specific area where that tyranny of the status quo, that we've always done it this way thinking might be holding things back.
Just one area.
Yeah. And what's maybe one small step, just one thing you could do, maybe even today, to gently challenge that.
Something to mull over.
We really hope you dig into these ideas more and see how the insights from QBITS 2025 can help you drive real strategic impact in your own world. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive.